trade for Amari Cooper, the four-time Pro Bowler, one of the best receivers in the NFL, one of the highest paid receivers in the NFL. He has been a top target for the Browns really for the last several weeks, and ever since it became clear that the Dallas Cowboys were willing to move on from Amari Cooper, they hoped in a trade but potentially a release. There were several teams in the mix. The New York Jets were one. There were a couple others. The Jacksonville Jaguars were one. There were some teams sniffing around. It just wasn't clear that anyone else was willing to pay Amari Cooper's salary and give up draft pick compensation. In the end, that's exactly what the Cleveland Browns did for the price of a fifth rounder, and then the two sides swapped 6 rounders. In the end, the deal is now done and agreed to. Amari Cooper going to be a member of the Cleveland Browns.
Ian, from the Dallas perspective, this is a very productive wide receiver. 4 seasons down in Big D, 27 total touchdowns. A couple years ago, back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Why make this move?
Well, there was the money here, $20 million for Amari Cooper, and the Cowboys were able to get out from under the money because it was not guaranteed this year. Obviously, the Cleveland Browns are going to pay it. Otherwise, they would not have done this trade. But I think for the Dallas Cowboys, it was really more about the future. They see CeeDee Lamb as their future #1 receiver. They also have a long-term deal they're working on with Michael Gallup, and they would like to get Cedric Wilson back in free agency as well. So it's really just they would have preferred to sign several receivers for this price rather than have one receiver take up $20 million. Considering the development of CeeDee Lamb, it made this trade palatable for the Dallas Cowboys. This much better for them than simply to release him and eat up some of the dead money and not clear as much cap space.
Ian, what about from the Cleveland perspective? Clearly a big boost to this wide receiving room with a guy like Cooper, but this is a deep draft class at that spot. Not to mention we got free agent frenzy right around the corner. They done making moves?
I'm not so sure the Cleveland Browns are done making moves. I know they wanted to remake the receiver position. The status of Jarvis Landry still a little bit in limbo here. I know they've had some discussions on a potential deal for Landry. We'll see where that shakes out, if he is available in free agency or if he is not. So that obviously is something to keep an eye on. And yeah, it is a big draft, no doubt about it. The receiver position, a lot of speed, a lot of possibilities. But the Browns know what Amari Cooper is. They know he is a top receiver. He's got the big salary, but the production you simply cannot argue with. That is why this makes sense for the Browns. They wanted to improve their offense. They wanted to remake the receiver room. They know what they are getting with Amari Cooper.
Ian, is there a fallout from this move in terms of the wide receiver market with free agency around the corner?
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of the top receivers have now either been locked in on franchise tags or have been traded like Amari Cooper. You have Chris Godwin, who's been in discussions on a deal with the Bucs. You have Mike Williams. Now you have Amari Cooper traded. Still have Allen Robinson and Christian Kirk, a couple other top receivers in free agency. But, you know, if Amari Cooper was free, would have been certainly one of the